Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to basically take all that source material you've provided and really boil it down into the quickest, most, well, fascinating path to knowing what's what.
Exactly. Cutting right to the chase.
And today we are tackling let's call it a high-velocity maximalist journey ourselves. We're diving into the careers, the minds of Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
Ah, yes. The Daniels. Everyone knows them now.
Universally known, yeah.
And these two, they've really carved out this incredible path, haven't they? From, indie YouTube stuff, viral hits, messing around with music videos.
Right, the short-form experiments.
All the way to becoming these, architects of a whole new style of absurdist cinema. And, of course, that just culminated in that absolutely historic sweep at the Academy Awards.
It's an amazing trajectory. So our mission today is pretty clear. Quickly, but really thoroughly unpack that whole journey for you. We're not just going to list awards, though. We want to trace the specific steps, those surprising, artistic decisions, and also the business side of things that really define their huge impact. They're pushing boundaries.
Definitely pushing boundaries. And maybe we should start with the basics, the foundation. Just who are they?
Good point. You've got Daniel Kwan, born 1988, Westboro, Massachusetts.
And then Daniel Scheinert, born just a year earlier, 1987, down in Birmingham, Alabama.
So East Coast meets the South, Massachusetts and Alabama. Pretty different backgrounds, you'd think?
You would. And the place where these two seemingly quite different paths converged, Emerson College in Boston.
Right. Both studied film there. Scheinert graduated in 2009, Kwan in 2010.
And that's really where their whole collective identity starts, right? Yeah. Going back to maybe 2007 even, while they were still there. It's always been about this collaboration.
Right.
Writing, directing, producing.
Yeah, they're like this two-headed creative force. It really is that East meets South meets, well, mate's weird.
Yeah. Meets weird is a good way to put it. And, if you really want to get the complexity, the visual density, the sheer audacity, really, of their big movies.
Everything, everywhere.
Exactly. You absolutely have to spend some time looking at their music video work first. That was their lab.
Their laboratory, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That short form, often low budget world is where they just hammered out their whole visual style.
Yeah.
Kinetic, physically bizarre sometimes.
Often physically bizarre.
Right. And always high concept, but done really efficiently, really fast. They started being active around 2007, but the music video focus really kicked in around 2011.
And that period is so key, isn't it? Because it taught them how to get the biggest bang for their buck, essentially.
Maximize effect, minimize budget.
Which is totally central to that maximalist thing they do now. They didn't have money for huge CGI or massive sets back then.
Right.
So it was all practical effects, super quick editing, and just getting these really committed, sometimes way over the top physical performances.
And that Emerson connection, it wasn't just about the two of them meeting. It immediately started building their creative circle.
Oh, right. You mentioned Sunita Mani earlier.
Exactly. Crucially, they were at Emerson with her. And this is important context because you see these early relationships forming, like the backbone of their later professional work.
So Mani stars with Kwan later on.
In their most famous, most viral music video.
Yeah, which obviously we have to talk about. Turned Down for What? DJ Snake, Lil Jon, 2013.
Oh, yeah. That video is just... It's pure Daniels, undiluted.
If you haven't seen it, you need to. It's like a masterclass in controlled chaos,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Absurdist premise cranked to 11.
And Kwan himself is starring in it, alongside Mani. They're doing this completely bizarre, sexually charged, but also incredibly destructive floor-humping dance-off.
Yeah, crashing through walls, breaking everything. It's nuts, all set to that driving beat.
And that specific video got them one of their 2 Grammy nominations. Best short-form music video.
Which is incredible recognition. Think about it. Kwan, the co-director, is literally performing this ridiculous high-energy physical comedy that basically defines their whole vibe.
Right. Getting Grammy nods validates that, yeah, this unique way of turning music into visual chaos, it works. It resonates globally.
It absolutely went viral way before they were big feature film names, but that wasn't their first Grammy nomination, was it?
No, their first nod was actually the year before, 2013 ceremony, for work done in 2012. It was for Foster the People's Houdini.
Okay. So they were getting high-level recognition pretty early on.
Definitely. But Turned Down for What
Yeah.
was the one that really cemented their reputation for just unapologetic weirdness.
And it wasn't just those big hits. They worked with other pretty high-profile, respected bands, too.
Yeah, showed some versatility. They did videos for the Shins, Tenacious D.
Rock comedy legends.
Right. and Manchester Orchestra. They did Simple Math, and later on, The Alien.
So this whole period, it wasn't just fun and games. It was like this intense, practical training ground.
Absolutely. A visual effects boot camp almost.
Yeah.
Developing techniques on the fly that they'd later blow up for the multiverse.
And there's another fascinating piece here, something about Daniel Kwan specifically. It says a lot about his values, I think.
You mean the WDMV thing?
Exactly. We Direct Music Videos, he co-founded that group in 2018.
Yeah, that's a really telling detail, isn't it? It gives you another layer. Their whole stated goal is about promoting sustainable directorial labor practices in the music video industry.
So what does that mean, practically, for people listening?
Well, you got to understand the music video world can be pretty brutal. It's often low budget, super chaotic schedules. Directors are asked to do so much work under insane deadlines.
Right, and maybe not get paid properly or lose rights to their work.
All of that. So Kwan, this filmmaker known for creating visual chaos, is actually out there fighting for, like, fairness and stability behind the camera.
Maximum fairness for maximum chaos.
Huh? Kind of. It shows he wasn't just about making the coolest video. He was trying to make the whole system work better for creators. That sincerity mixed with the absurdity. That's a really interesting tension.
Yeah, it really sets the stage for what comes next, doesn't it? Speaking of what comes next, that big leap from, 3-minute videos to 90-minute movies, that arrived in 2016.
Swiss Army Man. Yeah, that was the moment. Their full-on transition to features.
And if you had to slap a genre label on it, maximalist, absurdist comedy drama seems about right.
It's as good as any, I guess. You really can't talk about Swiss Army Man without hitting the premise head-on.
Yeah.
Because it definitely split audiences.
Right. Paul Dano plays a guy stranded on an island, suicidal.
Yeah.
And he finds Daniel Radcliffe.
Playing a corpse, a very flatulent, multi-purpose corpse.
The human Swiss Army knife of the title.
Exactly. And maybe the genius of it or the madness, depending on your view, is that they took this really juvenile, kind of gross premise. I mean, a movie built on fart jokes, and used it to talk about really profound things. Loneliness, shame, male intimacy in a really unconventional way.
It's that high absurdity again, but this time it feels like it's masking something deeply emotional, right?
Right. And that's where the reception gets interesting. Critics, for the most part, really loved it. They saw the originality. But audiences...
Polarized is putting it mildly. Weren't there reports of people walking out of the Sundance premiere?
Oh, yeah, famous walkouts. Just too weird for some.
Anyway.
But, and this is key, the industry noticed. They won the directing award at Sundance that year, 2016. Dramatic category.
That Sundance win is huge, though. It's like the industry saying, okay, yeah, this is out there, really out there. But the talent, undeniable.
Exactly. It validated their whole approach, chasing that wild concept all the way, proving they could keep that chaotic energy going for a full feature.
Now, before they hit the absolute stratosphere with everything everywhere, they were also doing work at TV, right? Cutting their teeth there, too.
Yeah, that's a pretty common path. Good practice managing projects, casing, just on a smaller screen. They shared directing credits on a few things. Some Adult Swim shows like NTSF, SDSUV, and Children's Hospital.
Right. And later on, Awkwafina is Nora from Queens. They did the Grandma and Chill episode.
But what's also interesting here is you see them starting to define their individual styles a bit, too, outside of the partnership.
Oh, okay. So solo work.
Yeah, some specialized solo directing credits that kind of hint at their different sensibilities.
Like what?
Well, Daniel Kwan directed an episode of Legion, the FX show, Chapter 23.
Ah, that makes perfect sense. Legion is all about unreliable reality, crazy visuals. Perfect playground for him.
Exactly. Practicing that reality bending stuff. A great warm-up for multiverse hopping, you could say.
And Scheinert.
Scheinert directed an episode of that dark comedy on becoming a god in Central Florida. The episode was called Many Masters.
Okay, yeah, that feels more like his vibe, too. Darker, maybe more grounded comedy.
I think so. Often a bit more cynical, perhaps. Which leads us nicely into his solo feature film.
Right, he directed his own movie separately.
Yeah, in 2019, The Death of Dick Long. It often gets overlooked because, well, Everything Everywhere was such a supernova.
Understandable. What was it like?
It's pure Scheinert, I'd say. Black comedy drama. It also premiered at Sundance 2019. Got good reviews for being this really specific kind of small-town, dark, southern humor.
And he was really involved in it, wasn't he? More than just directing.
Oh, yeah. He acted in it. He played Dick Long.
Yeah.
And he even performed a song for the soundtrack. It's been a while.
Wow. Okay, so really diving in.
Totally immersed. And the tone, it's much more grounded, more regional than the stuff they do together.
Mhm.
It feels very like Southern Gothic black comedy.
So it suggests his personal style might lean a bit differently when he's on his own?
I think it does. Towards character-driven, maybe slightly macabre stories, rooted in that Alabama background he knows so well. Still weird, but a different flavor of weird.
Interesting. And just before they hit the jackpot, there was one project that didn't happen, right? A little speed bump.
Ah, yeah, the Kurt Vonnegut adaptation, Cat's Cradle. They were attached to direct a TV version developed by Noah Hawley, who did Fargo.
That sounds amazing. What happened?
Well, the source material just says it was not picked up. Hollywood being Hollywood, I guess.
Projects fall through, even for super talented people.
Exactly. But maybe it was fate, clearing the path for them to pivot towards, well, towards everything, everywhere.
And what a pivot it was. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Or EEAO, as everyone calls it.
Yeah. The film that didn't just change their careers kind of changed the landscape for indie film, didn't it?
It really feels like it did. So this whole thing started back in 2017.
Yeah, that's when it was announced. The Daniels writing, directing, producing alongside their regular partner, Jonathan Wang. And significantly, the Russo brothers were involved as executive producers.
Okay, the Russo brothers connection is big. They were fresh off like peak Marvel success.
Exactly. Having them on board lent this very indie, very high-concept project some serious institutional weight.
And then fast forward to March 2022, it gets released and it just takes off.
Immediately. Widespread critical acclaim and box office success barely covers it.
Yeah, let's put some specifics on that success. It became A24's highest grossing film ever.
Ever. It was huge for A24 and proved something really important. Audiences were absolutely starved for originality, especially originality mixed with genuine heart.
It wasn't just a critic's darling, it was a real global hit.
Definitely. And propelled by that incredible cast. Michelle Yeoh, obviously, just phenomenal. But also Stephanie Su, Kwan's amazing comeback.
James Hong, Jamie Lee Curtis, legends and rising stars just going all in.
All in on this story about, a laundromat owner, her taxes, and saving the multiverse.
It sounds ridiculous when you say it like that.
It does. But the history part really kicks in when you look at the awards. The sheer scale of the recognition.
11 Oscar nominations, won 7. That's not just winning, that's dominating.
Total domination. And for the Daniels themselves, they got the big 3. Best Picture as producers, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay.
A complete sweep of the top categories for them. But it went way beyond the Oscars, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. This is where we get to that Triple Crown thing with the guilds.
Yeah.
They won the DGA award for directing,
Directors Guild,
the PGA for producing, and the WGA for the screenplay.
Writers Guild. Okay, so why is winning all 3 of those guild awards such a big deal? For the listener, what does that signify?
It's huge because those awards are voted on by their peers. Directors voting for directors, writers for writers, producers for producers.
Ah, okay. So it's not just critics or Academy members, it's the actual professionals in those fields saying this was the best work of the year.
Precisely. It shows this incredible consensus within the industry across all the major crafts. It validates their achievement on a whole different level than just, critical acclaim.
And that level of validation leads to something pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, this is the jaw dropper.
IGN.
Did the math, crunched the numbers from all the awards groups.
All the critics groups, festivals, guilds.
Everything.
Everything. And they calculated that Everything Everywhere All at Once actually surpassed The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Peter Jackson's epic from 2003.
As the most awarded film of all time.
Okay, I have to pause on that. That's staggering. A film that felt so indie, so personal, driven by practical effects mostly.
I'm a laundromat owner.
Officially got more awards than this massive, decade-defining fantasy blockbuster built on huge budgets and armies.
It's wild, isn't it? Now, you have to be careful with most awarded metrics. They aggregate a lot of different groups. But still, the sheer breadth of wins is undeniable. It shows this near-universal agreement across the entire global film world.
Right. It wasn't just the big awards. It was almost everyone recognizing it.
Exactly. They cleaned up at the Critics' Choice Awards, swept the Independent Spirit Awards. So mainstream critics and the indie scene were totally aligned. And it even won in genre categories that often ignored the big prestige pictures.
Yeah, that's another sign of how unique it was. It won the Nebula Award, the Ray Bradbury Award, specifically for Outstanding Dramatic Presentation. That's a major science fiction award.
Recognizing its sci-fi core.
And it also won the Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film. Getting that kind of cross-genre validation simultaneously. super rare. It speaks to how the film just worked on so many different levels.
Now, amidst all this success, there's a really important personal connection here for Daniel Kwan, isn't there? Something that came out of making the film itself.
Yes, absolutely. The source material is clear on this.
Hmm.
He was actually diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, after he started researching the condition while writing and developing Everything Everywhere.
Wow. Okay, that adds a whole new layer. That reframes the entire film almost. It goes from being just high-concept sci-fi to something deeply personal.
Completely. You can suddenly see the film's structure, its style, as maybe mirroring the cognitive experience of ADHD.
How so? Like the constant jumping between universes.
Yeah, the rapid-fire cuts, the feeling of being overwhelmed by sensory information,
Hmm.
Evelyn's difficulty focusing on just one reality.
And maybe that tendency to hyper-focus on something mundane, like the tax receipts, even when the whole universe is collapsing.
Exactly. That whole maximalist kinetic style, which some people found, maybe too much, too overwhelming, you can read it as a literal representation of how his mind works.
So the film's core message about finding meaning and connection, even when everything feels chaotic and overwhelming.
It gains this incredible sincerity because it's rooted in his own self-discovery during the process.
Right.
Putting that level of personal vulnerability into a huge multiverse action comedy,
Yeah.
that's probably why it hit so hard for so many people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so they achieved this absolutely historic success. Critical acclaim, box office records, Oscars, everything. The next question from Hollywood has to be, okay, how do we get in business with these guys?
Right. How do we institutionalize the Daniels? And the answer came pretty quickly in 2022. Big commitments, big deals.
What kind of deals are we talking about?
Well, two major ones. First, they signed a first-look TV deal with A24.
Makes sense. Sticking with the studio that backed EEAO.
Right. Keep developing maybe weirder prestige TV in that flexible, indie-friendly environment. But then, the other big one, an exclusive 5-year film deal with Universal Pictures.
Ah, Universal. Okay, that's major studio backing. Guaranteed budgets, wide distribution.
Exactly. It's kind of a brilliant strategy, really. A two-front approach.
Yeah.
They keep their connection to the indie world with A24 for TV, but they get the security and scale of Universal for their big movie ideas.
So they're set up to basically do whatever they want, it seems.
Pretty much. And they haven't slowed down on the directing front either. Even while planning these bigger projects, they jumped right into maybe the biggest sandbox there is.
Don't tell me. Star Wars.
Yep. Announced March 2023, the Daniels directed one episode of the upcoming Disney Plus series, Star Wars. Skeleton Crew. Should be out in 2024.
Wow. Okay, that's a test, isn't it? Can their very specific, often chaotic, maximalist style fit inside the, let's say, very established aesthetic of Star Wars?
It's a fascinating question. How do they adapt their visual language for Lucasfilm? I have to say.
Definitely something to watch. Now, what about their next original feature film? The one under that big Universal deal.
Ah, well, here's where we get that interesting little anecdote. A glimpse into the Hollywood hierarchy.
Go on.
Their next big movie, their follow-up to EEAO, was scheduled for a prime release date, June 12th, 2026. Coveted summer slot.
Okay, sounds great.
But
Yeah.
that date got pushed, bumped back to an unspecified time later. Why? Because Universal confirmed that a brand new film by Steven Spielberg would be taking that June 2026 slot.
No way. Spielberg.
Yep. So the directors of the most awarded film ever still had to step aside for, well, Spielberg, the ultimate Hollywood legend.
That's incredible. It really shows that even with all their success, all the awards, the old guard, the absolute icons still hold sway over that prime real estate on the calendar.
It's a perfect illustration of the pecking order, right? Even record-breaking success doesn't instantly put you at the very top of the pyramid.
A reality check? Maybe. But their new power isn't just about directing their own stuff. They're using their clout as producers now too, right?
Absolutely. Building their own little ecosystem. There was a big announcement in June 2025. The Daniels are producing a high-concept comedy for Universal.
Okay. And who's involved with that?
Get this. It's set to be written and possibly directed by Paul Dano.
Paul Dano, their star from Swiss Army Man.
Exactly. It's like a creative lineage. They're using their new power to give a major feature opportunity to someone who is key to their own breakthrough.
That's fantastic. It really paints them not just as talented directors, but as, like, community builders.
Yeah.
Paying it forward.
Definitely seems that way. And you see broader recognition reflecting this view of them as, important figures shaping the future. They were on the Time 100 Next list in 2022.
Recognizing rising leaders.
Right. And their alma mater, Emerson, gave them the EVVY Alumni Award of Distinction in 2023. So yeah, they're seen as major players now for the long haul.
It's easy to just focus on the films, the weirdness, the awards, but understanding who they are personally, where they come from, feels pretty crucial to understanding their work.
Totally agree. That synthesis of their different backgrounds is key to their unique voice.
So let's revisit that. Daniel Kwan, born in Massachusetts, his background is multicultural, right?
Yeah, his mother is Taiwanese, his father is from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So that brings a sort of global perspective, you might say. And personally, he's married to Kirsten Lepore, who's also a filmmaker and animator. They got married in 2016, have one son.
Okay. And then Daniel Scheinert, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama.
Deep South roots. Son of Becky and Ken Scheinert. Went to local schools, Oak Mountain Elementary and Middle. But interestingly, he was also in this advanced magnet program, the Jefferson County International Baccalaureate School.
Ah, so maybe a more internationally focused education within that Southern context?
Seems like it. And that combination is just fascinating, isn't it? You get Kwan's East Coast, multicultural, maybe more analytical perspective.
Meeting Scheinert's grounded, perhaps darker Southern sensibility, but one that also had this rigorous academic international focus.
And they meet at Emerson. And that friction, that blend, fuels their style. It's maybe why their films can feel both intellectually complex and really specific in their commentary on American culture.
It's like they synthesized two different Americas into something universally strange.
Universally strange. I like that. And just before we wrap up, it's worth quickly mentioning the sheer volume of their work, especially the short films. This was an overnight success.
Right. They were constantly working, experimenting.
Yeah. The features are iconic now. Swiss Army Man, 2016, Everything Everywhere, 2022, plus Scheinert's Solo, The Death of Dick Long, 2019. But look at the shorts.
Yeah.
Puppets way back in 2010, that interactive thing Possibility in 2014, even doing a segment for that Omnibo project in 2020.
They were constantly honing their craft, practicing the language of weirdness.
Relentlessly. Using every format available to figure stuff out. Hashtag tag outro.
Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We started with two film students, seemingly from different worlds, meeting at Emerson.
Trace their path through those groundbreaking, Grammy-nominated music videos where they basically invented their DIY high-concept style.
Then the leap to features with the wonderfully weird Sundance-winning Swiss Army Man, divisive but acclaimed.
And landed, of course, on the absolute phenomenon that was Everything Everywhere All at Once. The record-breaking awards, the cultural impact.
The final picture that emerges is this duo who took independent, challenging, frankly weird filmmaking and somehow turned it into massive mainstream success.
And doing it with this interesting blend of, deep artistic commitment, but also advocacy for fair labor practices.
Yeah.
And finding huge success by tapping into something incredibly personal, like Kwan's ADHD experience.
And now they're armed with these major deals. A24 for TV, Universal for film. They have the resources, the backing, the critical acclaim. Unprecedented creative freedom, really.
Which brings us to that final provocative thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Right. The Daniels, directors of the most awarded film ever, had their next movie bumped for Steven Spielberg.
A reminder of the hierarchy, yeah.
But given that they've proven they can blend the deeply personal with the utterly spectacular, the mundane with the multiverse.
And now they have serious institutional money and validation behind them.
What's next? What new ground will this duo define by embracing the strange, committed to fairness, choose to explore now?
What does it even mean for the future of movies that this kind of wonderfully weird, high-concept vision now has the full backing of a major studio like Universal?
They've broken pretty much all the rules and won all the prizes. The only question left is, what incredibly ambitious, deeply personal, and probably wonderfully bizarre universe are they going to build for us next?
A beautiful absurdity to ponder indeed. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
We'll catch you next time.